Welcome to the Your Leadership Legacy podcast. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus, and I'm so excited to bring you this next podcast dedicated to you high performers out there who want to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, maybe your career, all of it. This podcast is all about being dedicated to transformation and being the best possible leader of yourself and others that you can be in order to create a legacy that lives on. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus. I am the founder and CEO of True You Teams. And here we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Tina Paulus Kraus. Welcome to Your Leadership Legacy. I have to say that I am super excited today. I have been hearing all the buzz on Mr. Garry Ridge, who is the CEO of WD-40, and we have him on the show today. Gary, welcome.
G'day, Tina. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's so fun to have you. I've been doing some research on you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right. And really super impressed with you and kind of everything you're about. If you could just maybe give the listeners a little bit of background about you and kind of what you've got going on, that would be amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, nice to be with you. As you can tell by my accent, I'm not from Boston. My home country is Australia. So I grew up in Australia in a little suburb of Sydney. Went to a high school in Sydney, and then started my career in retailing. And in 1987, I got to join a WD-40 company. I opened our Australian subsidiary, and great brand. My dad was an engineer. He worked for the same company for 50 years. And when I asked him what he thought about WD-40, he said, "You can't go wrong with that stuff, son." And I think he was right.
Right.
And so did a lot of work in Asia. And in 94, I got the opportunity to move to the United States to help us plan our journey to take the blue and yellow can with a little red top to the world. And I became CEO, and we've had a lot of fun really building an organization where people go to work every day. They make a contribution to something bigger than themselves. They learn something new. They feel safe, and hopefully they go home happy. And building that type of culture is really what's made WD-40 the brand it is today, and more importantly, the place it is today.
Yeah, that is so impressive. I just came from corporate America for 22 years, and this whole show, the name of it, Your Leadership Legacy. And when I think about you and then adding your father into it, I can't think of a more perfect example about leaving a leadership legacy, right? So what does leaving a leadership legacy mean to you?
Well, I love something I read years ago, the Dalai Lama. I'm not necessarily religious, probably a little bit spiritual, but he said, our purpose in life is to make people happy. If we can't make them happy, at least don't hurt them. And I think the legacy that is important is leadership is not about being in charge. Leadership is about taking care of the people in your charge. Simon Sinek says that all the time.
Yeah.
And I think our legacy, my legacy, is really being able to create an organization or really plant the seeds, because there's a lot to go forward, of an organization that does create a place where people can step into their best personal self every day. They can feel safe. They're guided by a set of values that they're proud of. So I think that's the seed we planted here at WD-40, and I hope that this tree continues of support and shade of life continues into the future.
That's amazing. I love your commitment to the people. I love your commitment to the culture. That doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't happen just because. How do you think that, what processes, how did you get to the point where you are today?
Well, I worked out a couple of things. It was pretty clear to me I'm consciously incompetent. Micromanagement is not scalable. And I'm probably wrong and roughly right about most things. So for us to grow, I really needed to make sure that we had an environment where people could really come and join us and do their best work. And as we started to look at going outside of the United States, we needed a structure where people felt safe. So it was getting comfortable. The three most powerful words I've ever learned in my life are "I don't know." Mm-hmm. And just getting comfortable with those was a big step. But doing that and being vulnerable, just being yourself, treating people with respect and dignity is not a bad thing to do.
Yeah, right. So the I don't know and the vulnerability, what holds leaders back generally from being able to say, hey, I don't know, or from being able to be super vulnerable?
Ego.
Yeah.
What happens is ego eats empathy instead of empathy eating ego. So, it's all about me. If the best advice I can give anybody around leadership is it's not about you.
Yeah. Yeah. What's interesting is that what I see so often is somebody does such a good job in their position in the job that they're in, and because they're such a high performer and they get results and they do so well, they get promoted into leadership. And not everybody is always a really good leader, and and the development going into that. The other thing I see is the development going into that. So how do you at WD-40 develop your leaders to be really good leaders?
Well, the number one responsibility of a leader at WD-40 is to firstly be a learner and secondly be a teacher. And you're right, there's plenty of management training, but we actually do concentrate on leadership training. In fact, going on around the building today is one of our leadership labs where in the last 5 years, we've invested 27,000 hours across the company in helping people understand some of the attributes of leadership, how to be a servant leader, knowing who you are. You can't lead anyone else till you know who you are, how to deal with conflict, how to actually lead. And not a leader is like a coach, right? And a coach spends a lot of time in the locker room and a lot of time on the sideline, and bad coaches try to play on the field.
Yeah.
So we have to teach people to be great coaches. They're there to enable people and to provide a platform for people to do their best work.
Yeah. So you said a couple of words in there that are triggering this question. So leadership has evolved over the years. How is leadership different today and going into like tomorrow and the future of work different from it has been maybe in the past?
Well, I think people are today really understanding that it's about empowering people. It's not command and control anymore. It's not micromanagement. It's about actually empowering people through having a clear understanding of what it is we expect of each other, a clear understanding of accountability. And then leadership is about enabling people and providing people with the resources and platforms to be able to do the work that we expect them to do. It's also about communication. I think we are on the verge of really not being too well versed at communication because we use too many tools to talk for us instead of what we should be doing. When we built our new building out here in San Diego, we purposely designed it to have what I call collision zones. So actually people run into each other and what happens? They start to have a conversation. And I love it when I walk into some of the open areas and people are sitting around in lounge chairs, doing wonderful work because they're talking to each other and communicating with each other.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that there's this much better emphasis on communication and planning and all of this kind of going into the future. When you think about teams that you've led over the years, Garry, what makes a team unstoppable versus a team that maybe is stuck?
I don't know if I'd use the word unstoppable. What I would use the word is how do you can maintain momentum? And I think you maintain momentum by having a clear purpose, why do exist, by having a clear set of values that help people make decisions, by ensuring that you're in a learning environment. We say at our company, we don't make mistakes, we have learning moments. And a learning moment is a positive or negative outcome of any situation that should be openly and freely shared to benefit all. And then also by building trust I love what we call candor here, which is no lying, no faking, no hiding. Most people don't lie. A lot of people fake and hide. Why do they fake and hide? Because of fear. So how do you take that fear out by building trust? So I think trust is really building a trusting environment is true. And trust is basically doing what you say you're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Consistently, right? Like
consistently.
Yeah, I love that. This framework for success that you have, will you tell us a little bit about what that is?
The 4 pillars?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the 4 pillars are care, candor, accountability, and responsibility. So the framework is really made up of those 4 pillars, and it says if you work at our company and work with us, we're going to care about you. And caring is not only having a safe environment, but caring is making sure that we as leaders are doing our job to make sure that we've got a solid strategic plan, that we're holding people accountable, we're doing good work, doing meaningful work. You know, we say at our company, we're in the memories business. That's our purpose. We create positive, lasting memories, solving problems in factories, homes, and workshops of the world. The second one being candor is no lying, no faking, no hiding. So it's having that transparency and that safe zone to be able to have the learning moment and share it. And then accountability is making sure that there's a very clear understanding of not only what I expect from you, but what do you expect from me? Just because I'm your leader, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't call me on something that I'm not delivering, that I've said I'd be accountable to you. And then responsibility is taking away that, you know, finger pointing and victim sort of attitude that you have in an organization.
Yeah. So those are amazing. How do you keep those in front of the employees and the leaders on an ongoing basis so that it really cements in? What are some of the things that you did?
Well, we live them every day. We live our values every day. We embed them in our conversations around performance. But they're really the embedded in our actions and what we do. So we're always talking and acting around those four pillars, which really then do embed in our behaviors.
Yeah, good. So if I'm a leader and I'm watching this interview with you, and I have a team that's really stuck, maybe I'm a tenured leader, I've been around for 20 years or so, and my team is stuck and I just can't get the results, I can't get that momentum that you talk about. What is the one piece of advice that you would give that leader?
Talk to the people. They'll tell you why.
Yeah, it's really as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what holds us back from doing that?
That other word, ego.
Yeah.
We think it's all about us. You know, the number one attribute of a leader is involve your people. They'll tell you what we need to know.
Yeah, definitely. And what kind of things do you guys have, like as far as systems and processes to like make people feel that it's a safe space to be able to do that?
Well, again, I'll go back to our values. We have a set of core values. Our first value is we value doing the right thing. Our second value is we value creating positive, lasting memories in all of our relationships. So it's those two values on their own that we live and talk about and act on every day that helps people feel safe. You know, I can give you a really quick example of how that works. Our second value, which is the one I shared about positive, lasting memories. I was in a meeting not long ago, and one of our tribe members was obviously not creating positive, lasting memories. They'd had a very bad morning. After the meeting, I said, let's go for a walk and have a chat. So we went for a chat, and I started looking around our parking lot. And this person says, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking for the you that I know and love, because the you that I know and love wasn't in that room. Yeah. So let's have a conversation about the value of creating positive, lasting memories. Well, short end of that story is, the person had a bad morning, but the learning outcome from that was a little coaching to say, if you do feel like that, don't come to the meeting. Don't bring that other self into the room, because your behavior that day impacted a lot of people.
Yeah, you're seeing them in their highest self and holding them accountable to that.
Correct.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I love how also you refer to them as a tribe. Where did that come
from? One of the biggest desires we have as human beings is to belong. You and I, and maybe a lot of people who are listening to us today, have left a party, an organization, a place of employment, or even a relationship because you didn't feel like you belong. And we felt that the attributes of tribes really gave us some anchors to be able to belong to. For example, the number one responsibility of a tribal leader is to be a learner and a teacher. So we said a tribe is something you can belong to, and it's enduring over time. So, we call ourselves the WD-40 tribe, and if you ask people, they'll say, I'm a tribe member at WD-40. And the earliest tribes had two objectives. It was to work together to both feed and protect the the people within the tribe. So we believe that's what we do. We work together to feed and protect ourselves.
That is so inspirational. So what I love about what you mentioned was the whole lifelong learning thing. So you, what do you do? Who's your coach? What kind of learning do you do on a daily basis? Like, what does that look like in your life?
Well, it started, I went back to school when I became CEO, and I did a master's degree at the University of San Diego. That's where I met my friend Ken Blanchard. So I think I'm honored to say that I have some great mentors like Ken Blanchard, Marshall Goldsmith, Simon Sinek, all who are good friends of mine. I teach culture at a couple of universities, so I learned so much from that. But I'm naturally curious. I'm always asking myself, why do I believe that to be true? I think by observing and just being parts of groups of people that are a lot smarter than I am certainly helps me be aware of what I should be thinking about.
Yeah, I love that. We are already kind of at our time. So my last question for you is, how can people get a hold of you? You are so inspirational, and I'm sure that people out there are going to want to tune into you. So how do they get a hold of you?
I have a website. It's www.thelearningmoment.net. And I write blogs on that, and it connects to some articles that I write on that I publish on LinkedIn. So that's probably the best place. And I'm on Twitter @LearningMoment, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So the normal places.
Yeah, you're out there. That's amazing. I was in your blog, and for anybody who's listening, I would strongly recommend going to that, because there's just some really, really great nuggets and stuff like that out there. You are a complete inspiration, and I love your company culture and what you've done. I love the legacy that you are leaving behind, and I just want to thank you very, very much for saying yes to be on here.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. Lead on.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. All right, you guys, that leads us to the end of another episode. Come back tomorrow and we will have another amazing interview. Thank you so much. Bye. My name is Tina Paulus-Krauss, and I thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our programs and events at trueyouteams.com. And until next time, make it an amazing day.